watching CBS 8 Mornings at 6.
We do begin with breaking news right now. A SWAT standoff is underway in Paradise Hills. This is happening in the 2300 block of Rachel Avenue. San Diego police say that Rachel Avenue between Cumberland Street and Blue Ridge Street is closed, so please avoid the area.
Officers say they did get a call about an assault with a deadly weapon. We're told one person was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. You can see there is a heavy police presence out there right now. We're keeping a close eye on this. It's all the information we have right now. We will be sure to update you as soon as we learn more. 6 a.m. here on this Monday. Glad you're with us. I'm Eric Connors.
And I'm Chris Crow. It definitely does feel like a Monday morning here, but let's check in with Evan here to get an idea of how we're going to start our Monday morning. Evan?
Yeah, it's already right now overcast and kind of setting the stage for maybe a bit more humidity that we'll be watching for as we get into the afternoon hours. Right now, it looks like this afternoon is not going to be as active as what we saw over the course of the weekend, but still could bring about the afternoon cloud cover, maybe a quick shower over the mountains. So it looks like tomorrow and Wednesday are going to have a much better potential for that with more humidity, especially by Wednesday. Today's forecast, 71 out by the coast, 78 across our inland valleys. Mostly sunny skies expected, especially the farther east you go. Back to you.
This morning, congressional leaders from San Diego will address Friday's ICE raid at a South Park restaurant.
At one point, as you heard it there, flashbangs were fired as people surrounded the agents' vehicles. CBS 8's Regina Yarita live near Buona Forchetta with the latest on this. Regina.
Hey, good morning, guys. That's right, and we're just across the street from Buona Forchetta, and we can see right outside of that restaurant signs that people have left behind saying, "We love you, Buona Forchetta." They've also left flowers behind, a sign of really the support from this community, and that's really what's been drawing lots of headlines nationally because of the way that they reacted once ICE agents started to raid that restaurant. But we know that this morning local leaders will be holding a press conference to further discuss what unfolded. Now, what you're seeing is video from Friday. There was heavily armed federal immigration agents as they raided this South Park restaurant and detained multiple people. Outside Buona Forchetta, the operation escalated as community members gathered to protest. Witnesses at the restaurant told CBS 8 that Homeland Security investigation agents stormed into the Italian business and deployed flashbang grenades to break up the crowd surrounding them. Two restaurants of Buona Forchetta are on Beach Street, and employees said both were raided. The restaurant's manager confirmed on Saturday that 4 employees were detained. We also reached out to ICE to confirm how many people were arrested, but the agency did not respond to several attempts of contact. But here's what employees told us.
Come in and say they have a search warrant. All our employees were handcuffed and they searched our IDs and they took people.
Don't say a word!
And Buona Forchetta says that all locations will be closed today. In a previous statement, they did announce that they're working with attorneys to help the employees that were detained on Friday evening. Chris and Eric, I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Regina. And the San Diego Police Department tells us that they did respond to an urgent request for assistance from Homeland Security around 6:07 p.m. on Friday. That was near the intersection of 30th Street and Beach Street. The department says, quote, the nature of their involvement at the time was the request was unknown to us. SDPD was not involved in the operation beforehand, nor were we involved in any immigration enforcement. Federal agents had left the area prior to our arrival, and our officers did not ultimately provide any assistance or take enforcement action. Now, on top of Friday's ICE raid, we've been seeing reports of ICE arrests outside of San Diego's immigration courtrooms.
As CBS 8's Esmeralda Perez reports, Homeland Security says most undocumented immigrants who entered the United States within the past 2 years are now subject to expedited removals.
This video shows a person getting handcuffed in the court hallway. It was provided by the San Diego Immigrant Rights Consortium. You could hear someone asking officers to see a warrant.
Can I see the warrant? Get up.
I spoke with immigration attorney Ian Cerruelo. He's also chair of the SDIRC. He broke down what's been happening.
In downtown, outside of the courtrooms, there will be, several ICE agents waiting for those cases that were dismissed, and then once the person exits the courtroom, they arrest the person and place them in expedited removal.
For people in removal proceedings who've been here for less than 2 years and have an upcoming court hearing, Ian urges them to consult with an attorney. He also reminds people, you have the right to remain silent. You're not required to answer questions from ICE or sign any documents you don't understand. Make plans with your family if you have children or pets. If there's no attorney available and ICE requests their case to be dismissed, he says they should move forward with pursuing their application in court and opposing that motion. But before you even step into the courthouse, be prepared for anything, including a worst-case scenario.
Know your rights, be prepared, consult with an attorney, and prepare your family for any possible outcome.
Ian says there's an option they're encouraging where instead of going to court in person, they can instead use WebEx, which is a virtual way they're able to present themselves in court or via telephone. It's important to note that a judge does have to approve this motion first. Meanwhile, a senior Department of Homeland Security spokesperson told me the administration is once again implementing the rule of law. They also say if migrants have a valid credible fear claim, they will continue in immigration proceedings, but if no valid claim is found, they will be subject to deportation.
Immigration attorneys like me, we are really in a state of confusion. Like, we are trying to understand what's happening and understand, how we are able to help our community, our clients.
Esmeralda Perez, CBS 8.
And that attorney also advises against missing court hearings because judges may issue deportation orders in absentia, requiring people to reopen their cases or file motions to remain in the country. And the Department of Homeland Security has taken down its list of more than 500 so-called sanctuary jurisdictions, which included several in San Diego County. The list aimed to label areas allegedly not cooperating with federal immigration enforcement. The mayors of Vista, Santee, and Chula Vista were among cities nationwide that said that they were wrongly included. DHS acknowledged the criticism but did not explain the list's removal.
This morning, the San Diego Police Department is transitioning to fully encrypted radio channels. Now, we're told this is in an effort to comply with a mandate from the California Justice Department. The police department says that mandate helps protect the personal identifying information of all individuals. San Diegans will still be able to view many police calls through the department's online dispatch site. We're going to be asking the police chief about this coming up here in just a few minutes at 6:15. This morning, San Diego City Council members will consider a proposal for comprehensive parking reforms. The proposed ordinance implements recommendations from a parking demand management study. It recommends installing more parking meters to help manage parking availability and extending metered hours. The proposed amendments also include changes to residential permit programs and community parking districts spending. This morning, early voting begins for the District 1 County Supervisor race. This is for the July 1st special election to fill the seat left vacant by Nora Vargas. Voters are deciding between Imperial Beach Mayor Paloma Aguirre and Chula Vista Mayor John McCann. Whomever is elected will finish the rest of the term, which ends in January of 2029.
This morning, crews continue to attack the Henderson fire in Pala. Evacuation warnings for the areas around it have been lifted. CAL FIRE says the flames burned just over 250 acres and is now 80% contained. The fire broke out near Pala Casino along Henderson Road Friday evening.
Taking a peek outside here on a Monday. The humidity sounds like it's going to stick around a little bit. Those clouds also still kind of lingering out there, and June gloom in full effect.
Yeah, they kind of play hand in hand out there. The cloud cover holding on all the way through the time we get to about the afternoon, especially out toward the mountains and deserts. That's where we're going to be watching for a few showers, maybe a pop-up thunderstorm or two as we get into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Today, Monday, not quite as active as the days that we saw over the course of the weekend over Saturday and Sunday, but still some cloud cover out there by the coast and inland. Temperatures expected to make their way to the low 70s. 71 is that forecast high along the coast. We'll make it to about 78 across our inland valleys. Mountains going for 77, and the desert's 97. Here's that live look outside. Overcast skies starting at the coast, stretching all the way to our inland valleys. Sunrise was at 5:41, sunset coming at 7:52. Here's what we see so far. We haven't seen much clearing, but it looks like it will take a couple hours for us to be moving in that direction. Want to mention out by the coast what we have in play as far as watches, warnings, and advisories go. This is none of the three. It is instead a beach hazard statement. So that beach hazard statement is going to be valid until 5 p.m. on Tuesday. What that implies is that you do want to take caution while getting in the water out by the coastline. So 2 to 5 foot waves, sets of 6 footers possible. Remember, a 6 foot wave is taller than most of us getting in that water, which means that you do want to take caution when getting all the way in. If you're just dipping your toes in, no concern there really. But the second you start to get a little farther in is where we start to see the possibility that inexperienced surfers and swimmers could have some difficulty out there with that high surf. Because we do still have a rise in humidity as we get toward Wednesday and increase in cloud cover, we'll see those temperatures slide between now and Wednesday. And then after Wednesday, those temperatures start to recover really nicely. We're back to the low 80s by the time we get to Friday. So this upcoming weekend, we start to kind of balance out and get to more normal summer-like territory as opposed to this drop in temperatures. It's mild, but still, nonetheless, a drop in temperatures through Wednesday with that increase in humidity. Let's take a look at what we have going on as far as traffic goes. We earlier were taking you to a stalled vehicle that had popped up on the 805. It was the left-hand shoulder on the 805 northbound at Sweetwater Road. That is now clear, so you're back to smooth speeds on that 805 freeway, as well as the 54 and the 5. Let's take a look at your border wait times, where it is a 120-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Otay Mesa Port of Entry is going to be about 90 minutes in total.